What's up, YouTube? ThebyK here, bringing you our first video in quite some time. I do hope you've been enjoying our short form videos as of late. Today, I'm going to share my settings and what I think you should do as a new iRacer or even a seasoned veteran looking to take the next step in your progression. Now, for full disclosure, I've been on iRacing off and on for roughly 10 years, but my iRating typically hovers between mid to high 3000 on ovals. So while not the fastest on the service, I think there's a lot to offer here in terms of advice. Now, don't forget to like and sub to the channel. It definitely helps us out a lot as we're just getting started. Now, let's get into it. All right, so you signed up to iRacing. You've got a new pedal and wheel set. It's unboxed and you're ready to go. And you're asking yourself, what do you do first? First things first is make sure you consult the instruction manual for your wheel or pedal set. Make sure you install the applicable drivers and the software for those devices. For me personally, I'm on a SimMagic Alpha wheel and rim, as well as Fanatec pedals. So make sure you install those drivers, or it'll allow you to collaborate your sensitivity settings for your pedals and wheels. Then also you'll have some baseline settings in the software itself. This is just what I'm running on the wheel that I'm on. This will vary from user to user or from wheel to wheel, but set these as a starting point, and then we'll kind of touch on some more in-sim settings once we dive into that. All right, you've installed your wheelbase and your pedal drivers and your software, and you're ready to go. So once you log into iRacing, the iRacing UI, this will be the screen that you're greeted with. And the first thing you want to do is go down to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and click on Settings. And when in this settings bar, you want to make sure you run the graphics configurator. So when you click that configurator, it'll prompt you to select the display adapter or your monitor that you're going to be running on. Click Auto Configure, and from there, it will automatically set the in-race graphics settings for your computer's hardware. All right, so you've got your software installed for your wheelbase and your pedal set. You've ran graphics configuration in the iRacing UI. What's next? Once you log into the sim, you'll see the outline of the track here with some options up here at the top. So first thing you want to do is go into Options. And from here, you'll want to calibrate your steering, your pedals, and your gearbox. These are pretty straightforward. Just click each button and follow the on-screen prompts. It'll ask you to rotate your wheel, press and depress your pedals, as well as set your shifting, whether you're using a sequential shifter, paddle shifting, or an H pattern. All right, so once you have your pedals and your steering calibrated from that, it's always good, in my opinion, on your wheel. You'll want to set a button or a knob to look to your left and your right, and I'll show you that here in a bit, as well as setting a button on your wheel or your keyboard to reset the vehicle. If you're in practice and you have an accident or just want to go back to pit road for an easy reset, you want to click that button to make that easier. Down here, your force feedback strength. This is where on my UI I have it set to full strength, but in actual sim or iRacing, I personally toggle that strength based on the car and the track that I'm driving on, but it's going to be unique to each individual driver. All right, for this step, this is probably one of the most important steps we'll cover, and I'll tell you why. So once you're into the options again, we started on drive. We're going to want to click over to graphics, and on the bottom part of where you'll configure your individual settings for your FPS and performance of the sim. If you want to tweak anything that was set in the graphics configurator, this is where you'll take care of that. What's really important here is you'll want to click on monitors, and here you'll be able to select the type of monitor configuration that you have, whether it be a flat screen, 3 screens, a curvature screen, whatever your setup is. You'll select the type of screen that you have, and then you'll key in your width, your bezel width, curvature if it applies, and if you're running triples or a curved screen, I do recommend checking these two boxes here. This does reduce some distortion that you may see in your peripheral vision on those wider FOV type screens. You also want to get a tape measure and measure the distance of your eyes to the center of your screen, and then click compute, and they'll automatically set your field of view. So why is that important? So if you want to close this out here, and we'll jump into the car. This essentially sets your driving camera and your driving angle. If you're coming from a console game, like an Xbox or PS5, those typically don't have an FOV slider and has a depiction of being very far away from your dash. And what this tries to do, it tries to mimic a real-life sensation so you can correctly get a sense of speed as well as distance to the apex of your corners, as well as the cars that are around you. So if you're doing this for the first time, it may seem like the dash or the cockpit is too close to you. That is normal. I do encourage you to still practice in that fashion rather than changing the field of view, because the field of view is really only one calculation for field of view to be correct. So use what the sim gives you. However, counteract that to kind of give it to try to change your camera angle without affecting your field of view. You can go back to your um, settings here, and then here you want to hit Control F12 to bring up the camera edits on the right side of the screen, and go into Cockpit. And this is where you'll be able to edit and customize your camera without impacting your field of view. So if you jump in and you think the field of view is too close, rather than changing field of view, come in here and just pull your camera back as far as you want it to go. You can also impact your head height as well, an angle at the head. So if you want to do that, just hit save. We'll save it to test. When you do that, you get in the car, you'll now see the camera you just set is now your driving camera versus being right up on the dash. So I encourage you to play around with the actual camera settings in the sim and not the field of view. All right, last but not least, custom button mapping. This is really important, again, in your graphic settings. I mentioned earlier there's going to be a handful of buttons here that you can set from this screen here, such as looking left or right. And why that's important is, let's go ahead and reset our camera here to our default. That's what I personally like to run most of the time. Minor adjustments, we'll go ahead and put that. But if you're in a race and you notice you can't see your peripherals and you need to look to your left or right, you can use your toggle to go back and forth to see what's to your left and your right. So that's an important button to map. There's also several others that you want to look at as well. So once you're in options, go to control, and here you'll be able to set different controls unique to the car, unique to the shifting, brake biases. So any option that's not an option in your current car will be grayed out. But as you can see here, in-car systems, if applicable, you set a button for your ignition and your starter. Brake bias is very important in the NASCAR world. What else is down here? Did a short video on this the other day, but I definitely recommend mapping a damage report button. This allows you to get a damage report from your spotter or crew chief if you hit the wall or an accident and you're not sure how much damage you have and you want to know before you have to pit or before you pit. That's a very valuable tool there. These are some other controls for chat, radio displays, FPS displays. Going on down here, you'll have your black box controls. Those are set by default, but can be customized to your liking. Then also, you'll have some controls to control in-race replay. All right, that's going to wrap up our tips and tricks video for today for new iRacers. Let me know down in the comments if you agree, disagree, or have any other tips that you'd like to share. Also, don't forget to like and sub to the channel. It definitely helps us out a lot. And until next time.